Okay.
On the 22nd of June 1941, the Germans attacked Soviet Union, and the first country that was taken over was Lithuania. About 250,000 Jews lived there for many, many years in peace and with no problems. 1944, July 1944, when our camp was brought to the train station, the camp was liquidated in Kaunas, and out of 250,000 Jews in Lithuania, the remaining group was about 15,000. And those remaining Jews in Lithuania where actually the Holocaust started. The first country where the Holocaust started was Lithuania, not any other country. We were the last ones who were leaving Lithuania, taking to Germany. Well, my family, as many others, were taken to Germany through Stuttgart. We came to Stuttgart in July 1944. I myself came with my father, mother, and a little brother. There we were separated. My father was taken out of this camp to Germany, deeper in Germany. My mother, my little brother, were sent to Auschwitz, to the gas chambers. And the remaining Jews that were still there, my group with most of the Lithuanian Jews that were still alive, were brought somewhere in Germany, in a little place called, which I know today, called Utting. We came there, we found nothing. We stayed overnight just in the fields. And next morning they told us, here you got to build your own camp. Actually, we built our own camp there. And later on, a factory for the company called no. The two companies that were working there were Dividag and Steer in Utting, and we built a factory that they were producing concrete parts. And those parts were sent to Landsberg Kaufering, where they built an underground factory, plane factory. I didn't know exactly what it was. We came there about 650 people in Utting, and I stayed there until about February 1945. And then I volunteered to Camp Kaufering 1 because I thought my father was there. I came there. I didn't find, of course, my father. But what I found there was this underground factory, and life was became very, very hard. It's very hard to survive actually, because the kind of work we had to do 12 hours a day or night shift, you couldn't last for very long. So I was lucky maybe, because I was in this camp, in Camp of Kaufering, only a couple of months. Because on the 24th of April in 45, the camp commander came and said, we're going to be brought to the Swiss border. Will be exchanged with the German prisoners. This is actually where the Dead March started. We were brought next day to Dachau and stayed overnight there, and were sent in march again. I think altogether we marched about 9 days and 9 nights without food, without water. Those who couldn't walk anymore were shot immediately. And I don't know if we were lucky, but Those who survive, they think they are lucky. I'm not sure. The second of May, the Americans came. This was actually the day of liberation. It's hard to tell this story, our story, 4 years, children in ghetto and the concentration camps, what we actually, what we had to go through. And later on, when we discovered that we were released from the camp, we were not only released from the camp, we were released from our families, because nobody survived, actually. This is part of our story. To tell our story, you need nights and days.
How old were you?
I was 17. I was 17 when the Americans came, but I was 13 when I was brought to the ghetto of Kaunas. 4 very long years.
How many of your friends that arrived with you at in Germany, the concentration camp, survived actually?
Friends? Maybe 4. No, from the family, my father survived, but all the others were killed during those 4 years. But friends, about 4 or so.
Did you speak German when you were brought in?
Well, yeah, you had to speak German. If you wanted to survive, you had to understand what they're talking to you.
Because that was the way to survive.
A part of the way to survive.
How much did you weigh when you got into the camp? How
Weigh.
much did you weigh?
Who knows?
Didn't tell us that.
This is something that didn't bother us.
Would you say that you were lucky because you knew the opportunity, you would find the right jobs, or it was just a miracle to survive?
It was a miracle.
A miracle.
More or less a miracle. It was just by chance, you know.
Did you find any of your guardies under the circumstances that were so bad and awful human? Did you see any humanity with your in the SS and people who actually... Did anybody spare your life at a certain stage?
Nobody.
Nobody. No one cared.
No.
Would you say that the whole process of labor was just to kill you by work?
Vernichtung durch Arbeit. This is what happened in the outer campus of Dachau. Nobody thought that he's going to survive. And most of the people died.
When you go back to the main camp and you saw the conditions in the main camp, would you say that the conditions in the camp were much better than the satellite camps?
Of course.
Food-wise?
It was different.
Explain.
You cannot compare the outer camps of Dachau and the camp. Look, between 1933 and 1945, in the camp of Dachau, 40,000 people died. In the outer camps of Dachau, in 8-9 months, more than 15,000 died. How can you compare?
Were there more people in the outer camps?
No. Maybe yes. I don't know. I didn't count the people. But every second prisoner in the outer camps died.
Mm-hmm.
In the 8 or 9 months. How can you compare?
Was it a mix between Jews and other prisoners? Or it was...
No. The outer camps were Judenrein.
Can you tell them about the sleeping on
the sleeping conditions?
the sleeping conditions?
This-
You never washed?
You cannot compare nothing. Not the food you used to get, not the work you had to do, not the conditions, the daily conditions. This was, for us, the camp of Dachau, the main camp of Dachau, was like a sanatorium. You cannot compare.
Did you in the tent?
Not only this, those who stayed in the the camp of Dachau, when they were released, families were waiting for them. They had a home to go there. They went home, back to home, to their mother, to their brother, to the sister. We didn't have anybody. We were just children, most of us, without parents, without a home, without a future.
Was there any kind of way that what did you sleep in? Was it like wooden barracks, or can you describe?
We didn't have a barracks. What we had was like a underground, a cave, like a cave.
A cave.
Cave, 50 people in a block, they call it Erdhütte. This was something different. You don't see it. You don't. If you go into Dachau even today, it's a different thing. This is like a 5-star hotel for us.
Did you ever get a chance to wash, to change your clothes?
We never changed the clothes that we got in Stutthof. Those were the same clothes. We worked with them. We slept with them. We never took it off. If we would have taken it off, they could have walked by themselves with all those millions of small animals they had.
Nice.
Would you say that that one of the reasons why they never let you wash or change your clothes was to degrade you, to make you feel like you're not human anymore?
What did you know?
They didn't care about us. We were slaves, and we were actually, they handled us with like slaves. We were just something. We were not human beings. They didn't see us as a human being, as a child, as a boy or something.
But
like
still, they needed you to be strong for the work,
and
no?
this is exactly the question I'm asking all the time. They needed us so badly for work. Why did they let us die? Why didn't they fit us properly? Why didn't they give us a chance to wash ourselves, to change some clothes, to sleep like a human being?
7 days a week.
7 days a week. This is something
No, 6 days.
bothers me.
6 days?
It bothers me until today. Why? They brought us from Lithuania, from Hungary, from the remaining prisoners from Auschwitz, because they needed the labor. Why did they let us die?
Uri, why do you think they treated you this way?
The main thing is, first of all, the SS had a privilege. And the SS didn't give a damn if the bunkers will be ready or not. And they were the ones who decided. And they decided that the main obstacle was to kill the Jew. Let the Jews die, let them die. If not, kill them. If not, if they are too weak, there was a shuttle between Kaufering and Auschwitz. My father, the 25th of October, was taken to Auschwitz and put in the gas chambers. Instead of my father, there were healthy people from Auschwitz brought to Kaufering, and they're put in one of those camps. Then he was also taken to Auschwitz, my brother. But lucky enough, stayed alive.
The question
No
is,
logic.
who were the people that were responsible for us? A Scharführer. What is a Scharführer, actually? Corporal?
No, sergeant.
Sergeant. The sergeant was in charge of 5,000 people. And he had the right to decide who is going to live and who is going to die. A sergeant. You should have seen those people. Those son of a bitches.
Did anybody of you ever thought of rebelling? Was there any rebel in the camps?
How
Yeah.
to?
Yes, we thought, how can I get a boiled potato?
That's
Not
what you
about
thought.
rebelling.
Rebelling with what? With what?
Running away?
We were
Okay.
where to the Germans, but they'll turn you in a minute. They will not wait even 5 minutes. The 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 civil people who lived in the surrounding villages, little towns, they were all Nazis. They never gave us a little bit of food. They never had mercy on us. They say it was an order. It was more than an order. We used to walk through the streets of Landsberg, hungry, thirsty. They saw children, 15, 16, nothing. There were mothers who had children. They looked at us. People say somebody saw them a piece of bread. I don't remember. We were trapped. No way to rebel, no way to run away. Only death was waiting for us. Was awaiting in Auschwitz, was awaiting in the 11 camps that we are aware of. It was a lost case. At a certain time, you became indifferent. They took away everything from us. The soul, they also took away. We didn't cry, and we didn't laugh, we were zombies. We went to worked 12 hours, and came back. Not everybody came back.
There's also a question, the companies that we worked for, like the company Dachau, which we were building the factory for them. Why didn't they support us? They needed us. They needed the labor. They made a lot of money there. The company Dachau was 20 years or 30 years after the war still there with the same factory that we have built for them. Or Mall.
Mall.
Why didn't they take care of us?
We did ask the people of Mall, the owners, why didn't you?
Yeah.
Why didn't you give us a little bit more like you saw? And they said, you will not finish the bunker. And they said it was forbidden. And they went to Berlin, and Berlin declined it and said, no way will you give them more.
No food.
The food was exactly, there was a ration of food.
So-
One piece of bread and soup, that's all.
So it,
Sometimes in the morning, sometimes, and what you call coffee, which was
Coffee.
black water.
Like,
It was, so,
did you hear about the Americans? Were you aware that things are going to turn out differently?
yes, but we were waiting for the Americans.
The
but
Americans,
they didn't come.
yeah.
They were not in a hurry. I ran away with the train because I was swollen already, so I couldn't go. And a train was always going
To
to a
the
place where you kill you. We didn't know. Then we realized that the train was on the way to Dachau. The Dachau was a typhoid epidemic, and the people died. So I, with my friends, we ran away. We were, in this sense, we were lucky. When you ask how, it was pure luck.
to
You
chase
could
yourself.
run away from one destination to another destination, but if you were lucky, you stayed alive.
But when you were marching on the death march, did you hear about the Americans? Did you hear planes? Did you hear anything?
we heard bombs, but not planes.
And you were not aware to what's going on at all?
More or less we knew what is going on. Not exactly, because it happened once that the Germans did run away, because they thought the Americans are already there.
Okay.
But after half an hour or so, I don't know how long it took, they came back.
And you stayed with the same group?
We stayed with the same group in the woods of, we didn't know where we are.
For example, the train stopped. Why? Because the Americans bombarded a train of ammunition which was standing by, nearby our train. Then our train stopped and they told us to leave the train and to wait in the woods. But in the meantime, the Americans killed 130 people, not deliberately.
Prisoners.
Because they bombed that other train.
Because they bombed the other, it wasn't like today when you know whom you bombard and when. They bombarded. Some of the ammunition were exploding, and 130, minimum 130 people were. There are mass graves, even today. When you go from Munich to Zurich, you see it on the right side. There are 3 mass graves with 130 people that were killed.
Were you aware to what happened to the couples, the SS, or the people who tortured you?
Oh, after the war?
Yes.
We took care of them. They, a good number of them were judged by the Americans in the prison of Landsberg, where Hitler wrote Mein Kampf, and were executed.
Germans.
Their graves are still there, but they took away the names. I don't know why. Some of us helped the American military police to track them. And, but they didn't catch all of them. But a good number they catched. The commanders of camp number 1, where I was, were trialed maybe a year. It was the whole book. And later on they were executed by hanging in the same room where Hitler wrote Mein Kampf.
I would like to ask you the last question is how do you find the power and the energy to come back to those horrible places? Where do you get the energy? Where do you get your power from?
We did not have this power, not at the beginning, but later on, we realized that the younger generations don't know, were not aware of what was going on. So some story, we were invited, and a group of us came. And one day, about 22, 23 years ago, we decided to organize a group of 100 people. And we came and we wanted to visit the bunker. And suddenly we were curious, we wanted to know. What was there? What did we do? Did we build the big rocket V1 or fine? And then we realized it was for the Messerschmitt 262. And then we got to know the senior officers of this because it belongs today to the German Air Force. And slowly, we found out that we have a duty, whether we want or not, to explain to them and to the surrounding places, to the army, to students, to high school children, and so on and so forth. And therefore, we became active, and as long as we are in a state, in a healthy state, we will go there and speak to them. Mainly Abba does it. I do it less. And it's interesting. It's very interesting. It's very satisfying, because after after a lecture that you give sometimes 2 or 3 hours, you feel that you deliver the message that should never happen again. And what happened, they have to know.
Abba?
Should never be forgotten. This is the actually the main thing.
Message.
The main message, what we went through during the Second World War should never be forgotten. And the only way to keep it alive and to remember those who didn't survive is to go and tell the story. Although it's not easy. You tell the story every time. You give a part of yourself, a part of your feelings, a part of your health, but we feel it as a duty. We owe it to the young generation. And actually we want that our young generation should have contacts with young people in Germany to show them who we are, that we are not teaching our children to hate, to live with hate, and we cannot afford to not to receive the hand that the German youth is
Stretching out.
is what?
Stretching out.
Stretching out to just not to accept this. We need friends.
You know that